Alright, am I live? I have no idea if I'm live. Um, my friend's telling me I'm not live. Am I live? How do I know if I'm live? It says I'm streaming in OBS. Oh, well, here's a link. Okay, yeah, looks like I am live. Oh, let's see, there's a little bit of a lag, huh? Just letting my friend know to try refreshing. Yeah, also I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes because not gonna do a long stream tonight. It's just the trial run. I am indeed live. Thank you so much for confirming. All right. All right. Cool. Yeah, so welcome to my first ever live stream uh, for this thing that I had conceived, which was to just like live stream myself doing stuff. Yeah, and I guess, oh my god, where'd the chat go? Wait, let me see if can I keep this? I really want to keep this chat window open. Maybe I could move this over, kind of move it, minimize it somehow, like that. So the chat will be open. But yeah, so I have this like project that I've been working on where I'm just like analyzing bike share system data, and I wanted to go live yesterday, but I wasn't able to because my account wasn't verified yet. But I did an initial recording, and I'm just gonna kind of like start from where I left off yesterday. And unfortunately, I don't really have like enough time to sort of introduce this project too much. But I'm just kind of like jump into it. Yeah, and I've got the YouTube chat window open. So if anyone wants to, oh shoot, actually, I'm getting word that chat is disabled for some reason. That's really strange. I don't want that. I want that to be enabled. How do I change? I have no idea. I've never used YouTube Live before, so I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Weird. I don't see, like, where can I find settings? Oh, it is disabled. That's so strange. Am I able to change the settings somehow? Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is what I was expecting, basically, was to run into some difficulties. I don't know where to change that setting. Maybe I was supposed to do that before starting the stream? It's weird. Okay, well, anyways. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and continue. Okay, cool. Yeah, someone else, another friend found the stream as well. Okay, yeah, just getting started. It's too bad the stream's not, I mean the chat's not working, but I guess that means I can just like close it for now. Cool, cool. A YouTube Kids ad underneath. My channel is set for kids. No, it's not. I don't think it is. Okay, I'll look at this one more time and then try. It says try YouTube Kids. No, I don't think it's in kid mode, cause oh, what the heck? It is. You're right. Wow. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for finding that. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. How about now? Is the chat enabled? Let me see. Can I go back here? If someone wants to try just like typing something into the chat, see if it shows up. Because that would really make it so much easier to interact. Which is part of the whole reason I'm doing this. Because I wanted to try this out with just like coding and doing some stuff with some real-time interaction. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the chat yet, but hopefully it works now. I don't know. Yeah, good catch, good catch. Still no chat? Oh, come on. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That's all right. That's all right. I'll figure this out next time. Yeah. Bugs are to be expected. So, yeah, so with this project, right, so last time what I did with this project, basically, oh, chat's not working. I don't know what's going on with the chat, so I'll have to figure it out next time. But yeah, with this project, right, where was I with the code? In here. Yeah, so I have all this data that stores like system information for the Blue Bike system, which is this bike sharing system, over time, right? So it's all these JSON files, and like in each of these JSON files, I'll just go through really quickly, is information about every single station at that point in time, that snapshot in time, and it's got information like, oh, how many bikes are available at that time, right? How many bikes are being rented out? Yeah, stuff like that. And what I want to do is I want to just do like some really simple data analysis on one of the stations that's close to where I live that I use a lot, because that station's very much in demand and very low in supply, and so it's like frequently empty. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you, Stool Gallery. Oh man, that's awesome. That's an awesome username. Yeah, okay. So if you're not able to get in the chat, it's because I had kids mode on. And so if you refresh, you'll be able to get in the chat. That's sweet. Okay, awesome. Cool. Yeah, so I had all these files, which is like kind of ridiculous to work with. So last time I just worked on a code to just load all this data, right, individually, using NumPy. So I'm working with Python here, using NumPy, and then saving the data that I cared about to a NumPy file. And so that should be in here. I think I had a couple files saved, but the more recent one's the one I want. Oh no, I just have one. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I was going to basically take this file today, load it, and do a bit of analysis work. Like really simple statistical work. I just wanted to look at like stuff like, oh, the average capacity over time, things like that. So I remember I had commented out a bunch of code yesterday. So I guess I could go through the script really quickly. This was just a really simple script that I wrote. The main part starts here, but basically what it's doing is I'm picking a station that I want to look at. Oh, actually, this part is also obsolete, which is kind of funny. Yeah, this is the only part. So what I did yesterday, I picked a station that I wanted to look at, this ComAv-Grig station, right? And I downloaded all the data for the station for the, its status over time, and then saved that to a NumPy file, and then had this also the script here. This one was just to test loading that NumPy file back into Python, and then seeing if I could just like plot the data, just to make sure that loading and saving was working. And I could just run this script really quickly to show what it looked like. I believe I actually need to update this file path. Yeah, one of the things that I should do that's better practice than what I'm doing now is that I'm just like manually escaping these slashes, because like Windows uses this weird, a different convention than Linux or Mac, where you have to use this slash, and like Python recognizes that slash as like a escape character, so I have to escape the escape character. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this than manually changing it every time, but yeah. So here is this file that I wanted to load. I need to rename this as well. Okay. And then so this script's going to load that file. It's going to grab the data in that file, which was basically the station capacity over time, and then the times that it was recorded at, right? So it's these two data vectors. And then this one's just, right now, all this is doing is just plotting that data. Yeah, a lot of this project, too, is me working with NumPy for the first time, because I've never really worked with NumPy before. I do almost all my work on MATLAB, so I have experience with, like, data analysis tools, but have never really gone in depth with NumPy, and so this was just like a good way to learn about NumPy as well. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this script that I already had, just to show that I can load this data and plot it, and maybe have something to talk about. So you're not just looking at code. No such file or directory. Oh, I need another // I'm not sure which one. I don't know who this Rosewoods person is, but that seems like spam. I have no idea how to moderate either, so like if you see like strange messages pop up and links that look suspicious, don't click on them. Please. Yeah, so this is a plot, right, over time of this Great Street station, the capacity for the station, right, over time. And I started recording this back in like late November of last year, and it's being recorded up to the present day, right? So this data is like 3 months worth of data. And capacity I'm defining as the number of bikes that are at that station, divided by the total number of bikes that could be at that station, right? So the total number of bikes at the station is something like 15, or the total possible number of bikes, if the station was totally full, is like 15. And then I'm just taking the ratio of the number of bikes at that point in time to the total number of bikes that could be there, right? And I was talking about how the station has a lot of like supply and demand issues, and you could really just see that, like, it's very apparent just by looking at this plot, this scatter plot, because you see, right, a huge amount of variation in the capacity, swinging from like totally empty, which it spends a lot of its time like totally empty, to being like near max capacity. And yeah, just zooming into this data, like you see this is like a really regular pattern, right? And it's too bad that x-axis isn't showing more information, but basically these trends are daily trends. And so at the start of the day, the station starts out with a lot of bikes, but then during rush hour, people are checking them out, and so the capacity really drops very quickly. And then at night, when people are coming back home and returning the bikes, then the capacity kind of increases again. Yeah, so one really simple thing I wanted to do was just to like see if I could calculate the average for this data over time. And I don't know the function for that, because I don't really work with NumPy. But what better way to learn than to do, right? So I'll just have to look it up. NumPy calculate mean. I could probably just search for NumPy mean too, and it would show up. Yep, and there's a function, right, called numpy.mean. So that's exactly what I wanted. Probably should have been pretty obvious that it would just be called mean, but yeah, let me read this a little bit. So, okay, so numpy.mean computes the arithmetic mean along the specified axis. Okay, and it returns the average of the array elements, and the average is taken over the flattened array by default, otherwise over the specified axis. Okay, so that's only relevant if I have a multi-dimensional array, which I don't. It's a one-dimensional array. And the only parameter I care about, right, is the first one, which is A, which is just the array that you want to take a mean of, and then the rest of the arguments are optional, right? And so I'll just ignore them. But the array that I want to take an average of is this capacity versus time array, right? And I'm going to call this average capacity equals np.mean, capacity versus time. I guess what would have been better probably would be to do this in a Jupyter notebook, because that way I wouldn't have to like rerun the entire script every single time I added something. I could run it in parts, but I don't have that set up, so I'm just running this in the script as a whole script all at once. And it's going pretty fast anyways, so there's no reason to need to switch to a notebook yet. But yeah, I just want to like display this real simply, just to see what this value is, right? Oh, and then, okay, this is a really annoying part about matplotlib, which is like the library that I'm using to plot things with, which is that for some reason it doesn't return control to your back to your command window until you close and you open figures. And I know there's an option to disable that, but I haven't gone around to that. Yeah, so I have to close this to let the script continue. Okay, so the average capacity of this station is about 0.33, let's say. So 33% across that time period. On average, it sits at 33%. And, you know, just empirically, I would say that's like on the lower end, right? Because you would think, oh, the optimum capacity for a station would probably be something like 50%, right? But 33% is not like terrible, you know. It's you know, I don't know. I think it's still within like a reasonable range for a station to be operating at, but it's definitely on the lower end, right? But of course, like this average is not really capturing a lot of the information, which is all that oscillation, right? Which is the real concern, is the fact that this station oscillates in capacity so much and so often, right? And so the next thing I wanted to look at was calculating the variance, right? Which will tell me how much deviation is there from the average on average, if that makes sense. Oh, thank you very much for the compliment on the data set. Yeah, so for just a bit about the data set, all this data, right, is freely available, made freely available by the Blue Bikes system, which is awesome, except they don't have a history of this data, right? So what you see when you like go to their website is you see one JSON file, right, which is a snapshot of the system at that time, but they don't save previous, they don't save a history of these snapshots. So I had to write a script, which was, I don't know, this one I think, to, on a timer, download that JSON file at some regular basis, and I just chose 5 minutes. But yeah, so this script has been running more or less for the most part since like the better part of between, you know, last November and today. Yeah, so I want to get the standard deviation, and it looks like there's already a function in NumPy for this, which is cool. I've actually kind of forgotten what the definition of standard deviation is, so I kind of just want to look at it, because I know there's standard deviation and there's variance, and they're related somehow, but I always forget which one is the one I really want to look at. So I'm pretty sure it's standard deviation, right? I want the average deviation from the average is what I'm looking for, and I think this is it. In statistics, the standard deviation is a measure of the amount of variation or dispersion. Okay, sounds good. A low standard deviation indicates that values tend to be close to the mean, while high standard deviation indicates that values are spread out. Okay, yeah, so I think this is what I want, not without needing to go much deeper into this. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this function and say standard dev equals, np dot std, insert joke here, and print std dev, and I have not paid for Sublime, my bad. Run this code again, there's the data, okay, and the standard deviation it's saying is 0.25, let's say. 0.25, okay, is that good or bad, right? 0.25, I'm trying to understand, if I put this in context, what does that mean, right? I think what it means, and I might have to go back to this definition of what standard deviation is, but I think it means that if you look at a normal distribution, right, the standard deviation should be, within one, well, they call it sigma here, okay, 1 sigma of the average, right, which is 34%? What do these numbers mean? I'm not sure what these numbers mean. Yeah, I might have to read about this a little bit more. But basically what I want to say is I want to know how much on average does this capacity change over time, and if I were to say this was that number, then that would mean that over time, right, you have an average of 33% capacity, but then that average is swinging by plus minus 25%, right? Which means that you're spending a lot of your time at basically 33 minus 25. I mean, what was that? 33 minus 25, like 8, I think. I don't know, whatever. Less than 10% capacity, which is really bad. That's what I wanted to refer to as like the red zone. So, yeah. I think this kind of like just really basic number crunching is showing that, okay, this station is, it's in trouble. It's just, clearly it's underserviced. But, wanted to go further than this and look at specific time periods, right? Because we know from this plot, and I guess I'll have to run this again to show this plot. Yeah, Goal, you were wondering how I found that data. I hope, did I answer your question? Because I could actually go into more detail about that. But yeah, so, this, like I said, like this data, although it's not showing the x-axis when I zoom in, it's I just know, like empirically, from experience, that this is the traffic returning from work, and then this is traffic leaving for work, right? So these are the rush hour periods, and I wanted to see if I could figure out how to say get the average and the standard deviation for just like a time period of choosing, right? So let's say I only want the data from the hours of 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., for example, right? So I have 2 vectors to work with. I have capacity versus time, and then I have time itself. But time is saved as in epoch format, which is some kind of time format that I'm not familiar with. So I need to figure out like, okay, how do I, you know, find all the positions where the time is between 8 and 9 a.m. And I think I should be able to do this using some date time functions. I think Python should have some functions that'll just like tell me convert from timestamp to hour of day, from epoch time to hour of day. And I have no idea how to do this, so I'm just going to Google it. Right, Python convert from epoch time to hour of day, let's say, which is a bit like of a specific question, but oh, and looks like I got a specific answer. How will I convert epoch timestamp to get hour of the day? This question already has answers here. Okay, let's see if there's any answers here. Nope. Okay, let's try one of these. Epoch time to milliseconds. Yeah, so these are all more general about how to convert epoch to like some general time. But let's see. How do you convert seconds since epoch to a date time object? Right, so I believe I've already implemented this, which might mean that I already have the solution in my code. But let's see if I can refresh my memory. Date time from timestamp will do. If you know the time zone, you could produce the same output as with time.gmtime. Interesting. From timestamp. Okay. So okay, I guess the first option is what I want because it'll automatically know my use my current time zone. So it seems like I'm already doing this. So I've got this like function here. That's actually, this is what I'm plotting on the x-axis, which is I've converted my timestamps from epoch time. Just make note of this. This is in epoch time. Oh, that's not how you comment in Python. Epoch time, right? And this replaces, like it says, replace x labels with human readable timestamp. So I want to read what this is a list comprehension. I'm trying to understand what it's saying. So datetime from timestamp, which is this function that should convert from epoch time to datetime format, and then string f time. Okay, I see. Some formatter for t in locations. What's locations? For t in locations equals plt to xsticks. So I'm only converting. So I haven't looked at the script in ages, so I'm kind of refreshing my memory right now. So I'm only converting. Let me expand this. The labels that are actually being shown in that plot on the x-axis. So like this one, which might explain why I'm not getting more ticks as I zoom into the plot. T. Yeah. Okay. And then what was the same from timestamp? So it looks like this makes some kind of datetime object, right? This code makes a datetime object out of time t and epoch time. And then this function just converts that object, or is some function that takes that object and returns you a string, so the time in a human readable string format. So what I want is I want to convert this time to hour, right? So I think what I can do, let's say, and will this accept an array? Let's see. I want to look at the documentation for this. The datetime module supplies classes. Okay. I think I want to look for that specific function. Right. Where is it? And sorry if I'm not checking the chat. I only have one monitor, so I can only see what's in front of me. But hopefully I can figure out maybe another solution to let me see the chat separately. The function I wanted from timestamp. So let's see. Look for it on this page. Okay, here it is. From timestamp. Return to local date corresponding to the POSIX timestamp, whatever that means, such as return by time. Okay. And what does that do for me? This is also part of the date object, which I'm not sure if that's what I'm using. I'm using date time, right? Date time and date are different, I believe. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So here's the date time class from timestamp. Okay, return the local date and time. If optional argument is not specified, the time is converted to the platform's local date and time, which is what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. So I don't think there's much, yeah. This is just saying what I had already said. But what I want now is I want to take this date time, right? Oh, well, also it looks like this timestamp's probably only accepting a single value, not an array. And then also I want to know how to convert this date time or to get the hour from it, right? Oh, that's my timer. Yeah. Yeah, I said I was going to do only a half-hour stream because I got to get to something else. But yeah, so I'm going to have to end it here, but I'll start from here next time. And yeah, thanks for everyone who joined. I really appreciate it. Like, yeah, you know, I have no idea how this like whole series is going to go. I'm just kind of winging it, but I hopefully it was like interesting in some way, and I'd love to get some feedback on it. So yeah, until next time, but thank you all for joining. I'll be ending the stream.